Does anyone remember the car of the future that was so hyped in 2006 and nearly 20 years later still hasn't delivered a single production vehicle? That's Aptera Motors, a 20 years old promise. It all started in 2006 when a company called Accelerated Composites, now Aptera Motors, promised something no one even dared to, a three-wheeled ultra aerodynamic car that could hit over 300 miles per gallon and built like a spaceship. And of course, that got people hyped. But later, the pitch was changed. Other than efficiency, what if it is a solar electric vehicle, a car that could literally power itself from the sun? And people went crazy on that idea. Even big companies like Google backed it, and venture capital flowed into Aptera, and it really started to look like a real rival to Tesla. But the hype can only take you so far. In 2011, Aptera failed to secure a key loan from the Department of Energy, and without it, they ran out of cash. So deposits were refunded and the company got dissolved. And just like that, the car of the future was dead before it even hit the road. Or at least it looked dead on paper. In 2012, a Chinese automaker bought Aptera's intellectual property and they relaunched it as Zaptera USA. The promises were bold this time, but the results still zero. Not a single car was shipped. So by the late 2010, Aptera was basically like one of those, remember that crazy futuristic EV that never happened. For most people, the story ended here. But then the twist. In 2019, the original founders came back and they relaunched Aptera with a bold new pitch. A solar-powered EV with up to 40 miles of free range per day from the sunlight alone. This time, they leaned more into crowdfunding and people did invest and they raised over millions. At one point, they had over 30,000 pre-orders lined up. The prototypes looked futuristic and legit with solar panels across the body and a drag coefficient as low as 0.13, which was basically unheard of in the industry at that time. For a while, it really felt like Aptera Motors is really back, and maybe this time they would make it. But then, the cracks started showing up again. Technical pivots like dropping their in-wheel motors delayed a lot of things, and the production timeline kept slipping, and the money burned so fast. In 2023 alone, they lost over $60 million, and suddenly the history was repeating itself. But in CES 2025, Aptera tried to prove they are serious by revealing a production intent prototype designed with Pininfarina, Italy. On paper, it had a range of 400 miles and that hyped solar charging, but still no customer deliveries. They raised over $140 million, but it was not nearly enough. They still need an additional $160 million just to start production. And they also had to fight off legal battles, which of course didn't help. So right now, Aptera is caught in a limbo. Not dead, but not alive either. And building cars isn't like building an app. It's capital intensive. You don't need millions, you need billions. And without deep-pocketed investors or major partnerships, Aptera will always be underfunded. And honestly, fans do love the spaceship look. But what about the mainstream buyers, the normal people? A three-wheeled solar car is a tough sell. Maybe Joe Rogan will buy it, but 9 to 5 people? I don't think so. And unfortunately, every time production gets pushed back, the trust goes away. Pre-order patience isn't infinite. Once made feel stupid, customers don't really forget. But the good news, the official target for the first deliveries is set in the late 2025, with scaling by 2028. If that actually happens, Aptera could pioneer a whole new category, a car that don't really need daily charging and can turn solar into power. That's a new USP. But if it doesn't, Aptera will always be remembered as one of those most ambitious yet failed startups in EV history. Either way, its story is already one of the strangest in the automotive world, a dream that refuses to die but still hasn't been born. The idea is brilliant, the execution has been the problem. We'll wait and see if they finally pull it off by this year or maybe early next year. Yeah, thank you for watching and please subscribe, beautiful people. Thank you.